his friendship and very close friendship he described with Jeffrey Epstein, who he said was his best pal. Well,
Good
he's
Lord.
been tossed out as well. And now there's mountains and mountains of questions to ask Sir Keir Starmer of what he knew and when and why Lord Mandelson was appointed to this role.
Just very quickly, former Prince Harry and the King, they're all
Union Jacks in London, fury at open borders, 150,000 raw enough, while Starmer scolds patriots. Is this Britain's Trump moment? Stay tuned.
The British public.
Yeah, there is no doubt that that issue alone is going to create a lot of resentment with people. We've seen it time and time again. I want to go to a tweet or an ex-post, if you like, from Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister, where he said, people have a right to a peaceful protest. It's core to our country's values. But we will not stand for assaults on police officers, fair enough, doing their job for people, or people feeling intimidated on the streets because of their background or their colour or their skin. Britain is a nation proudly built on tolerance, diversity and respect. Our flag represents our diverse country and we will never surrender to it to those who want to use it as a symbol of violence, fear and division. He seems to be really targeting the protest, smearing everyone involved in the protest there. Is that the way it's been taken?
Well, people are really annoyed here, Chris, with Sir Keir Starmer. They feel like he is, really lecturing them on how they can use the British flag. Just coming into Westminster this morning, there's a lot of Union Jack and St George's flags up high on the streets that people have obviously put up there protesting and also signifying that they want to be proud that they are British and they want to be proud of their country. But he is very unfavourable at the moment. His career is in jeopardy, Chris, and he's really come out in a careful and articulate way of having a go at the protesters on the weekend. And no one, Chris, no one in their right mind would think that it's acceptable to attack police. So, of course, those people should be condemned. But it was a largely peaceful protest here in central London, Chris.
It seems incredible so soon after the election, but Keir Starmer's leadership is being speculated about.
It certainly is, Chris. I mean, he's had a couple of major scandals in recent weeks. He's seen the loss of his Deputy Prime Minister, Angela Rayner, after she failed to pay the correct amount of stamp duty tax, and she is the housing or was the housing secretary, so she's lost her Deputy Prime Ministership. And now he's under extreme pressure because of the appointment of the British ambassador to the US, Lord Peter Mandelson, who's also been sacked over his friendship and very close friendship he described with Jeffrey Epstein, who he said was his best pal. Well, he's been tossed out as well. And now there's mountains and mountains of questions to ask Sir Keir Starmer of what he knew and when and why Lord Mandelson was appointed to this role.
Just very quickly, former Prince Harry and the King, they're all sweet again apparently, or is there more to come?
So Prince Harry was here in the UK last week, Chris. He did meet with King Charles the first time in over a year. They had about an hour together at Clarence House. And for once, Harry has been dignified and just said it was a great meeting. He hasn't gone into details. He doesn't appear to be selling his story. He's trying to mend the bridges here. There's an awful lot of bad blood between family members here. We know he's trashed the royal family. And I think finally he's seen the light that he needs to mend the ways because his father is ongoing cancer treatment and his health.
Look, when I see 150,000 ordinary Britons marching through London waving the Union Jack, and the press still calls them far-right, I smell the same stale trick the globalist class uses everywhere: slap a nasty label on normal people so no one listens to them. Starmer's tweet proves the point. He rushes to defend tolerance and diversity, yet says nothing about the Rochdale gangs still sitting in prison for rapping working-class girls while council staff look the other way. If that is the tolerance he champions, count me out. The real driver here is not Tommy Robinson's personality, it is the small boat invasion that has dumped 120,000 illegal migrants onto English shores since 2018. Every one of those arrivals costs the taxpayer around $7 million over a lifetime in housing, health and welfare, according to the Centre for Migration Control. While record-high NHS waiting lists and the highest tax burden since the 1940s fight the very people who live outside the Westminster bubble. When a dad in Stoke waits 2 years for a hip operation, while a hotel in Dover hands out 3 hot meals a day to young men who arrived yesterday, anger is not extremism, it is common sense. Australia faced the same problem in 2022-2380, 000 visa overstayers and 5,000 boat arrivals. The Albanese government tried the Starmer playbook lectures about multiculturalism until polls showed 68 of Australians wanted the Navy to turn boats back. Canberra quietly restarted offshore processing and the boats stopped within months. Britain could do the same tomorrow if it left the European Convention on Human Rights, a 1950 document written before mass air travel and mobile phones. France, Italy, and even Greece have already pushed Strasbourg rulings aside when it suits them. London could do it overnight. The only barrier is political will. Notice the BBC line largely peaceful. They used the same phrase during BLM 2020 while buildings burned. Yet when 26 officers end up in a E, that is not peaceful, that is a riot. The double standard fuels the revolt. Working-class whites are the one group you may still mock on primetime TV. Try mocking any other demographic and Ofcom fines fly. People notice. That is why the crowd sang "He's not the Messiah, he's a very naughty boy" about Starmer. They have had enough of being the punchline. Starmer's authority is crumbling faster than any Labour premier I can recall. 16 weeks in, and he has already lost his deputy over a dodgy house sale and his chosen Washington envoy over Epstein ties. Rumours swirl that backbenchers are collecting letters for a no-confidence vote. The next Labour conference could look like the 2022 Tory psychodrama. If he falls, the beneficiary is not the Lib Dems, it is Reform UK, polling at 19 among under 40s men, a group Labour once owned. Nigel Farage must be grinning into his pint. The establishment wants to keep the debate on skin colour because that keeps them in charge. Shift it to numbers and they lose. The Office for National Statistics projects the UK population rising from 67 million to 85 million by 2046, almost all from migration. England is already twice as crowded as France. Water firms warn the southeast faces chronic shortages by 2030. House prices stay sky high because we add a city the size of Newcastle every year. These are facts, not racial dog whistles. Yet mention them and you are far right. The smear is losing its sting. That is why the crowd laughed when Robinson held up a St. George's flag and said, "Apparently this makes me Hitler. I back Israel because Israel understands the stakes. They built a fence on the Sinai and cut illegal entry by 99. They deport anyone who arrives without papers, treaty or no treaty. The UN scolds them, but Israelis sleep safer. Britain once ruled a fifth of the planet. We can secure a 21-mile strip of water if we decide to do it. Stick the Royal Navy back in Calais with orders to push every dinghy back, pay France a returns deal like Italy did with Tunisia, and the trade collapses within weeks. The smugglers rely on the certainty of pickup, remove that certainty, and the market dies. The media class frets about Britain's reputation. Ordinary Britons fret about payday loan interest rates and their daughters coming home from school speaking in grunts because half the class cannot speak English. Reputation does not put food on the table. The rally was not a carnival of hate, it was a final warning. If the major parties keep throttling the throttle, the next explosion makes Saturday look like a picnic. The ballot box still exists but patience is wearing thin.